Guys, so today I basically will be comparing my Nexus 7 versus my Apple iPad mini in a quick little video here. So we are gonna go ahead and begin right now. So as you see, one of the biggest things behind or between these two tablets over here is that they are not full-size tablets, as you know those earlier ones have been, earlier years. So it's only a 7-inch Nexus 7 versus Apple's own new iPad mini that is a little bit bigger in size. This one basically is 7.9 inch, while this one is 7 inch. Nexus 7 is 7 inch, while this one is 7.9 inch. That's one of the biggest differences here. If we go ahead and begin, of course, this one's rocking iOS versus Android on the Nexus 7. Now, if you go ahead now and first of all just look at the form factor wise, as we see when we turn off the displays, you can see that the first thing that you will notice is that first you have the hardware button here on the front side on the iPhone, while you only have a screen here on the Nexus 7. And to turn on the display, which could be a little bit annoying, you have to turn on here on the side. Okay, so a little bit annoying over there. Let's go ahead and turn off the display. If we go ahead and continue here, we can see that at the bottom, of course, we do have the connector on both these two devices. There we go, connector, awesome, sweet. If we go ahead and look at the back of the devices, you can see that you get kind of like a rubber feeling with the Nexus device over here, which makes it very easy to grip. And also one thing that I actually do like a ton more with the Nexus 7 compared against the iPad mini is that it's so easier to grip, just because it is not as wide as the iPad mini. While the iPad mini is a little bit thinner though, that's extremely nice. But it's very hard to grip like this if you're gonna go ahead and read a lot of books. As you see, it's very hard. While on this boy, it's 7 inch, it's a little bit smaller than 7.9 inch, but I think it's more like optimal size, especially for reading, if you're gonna go ahead and do a lot of those things. So big thing there in the beginning. Now if you just go ahead and continue now and fire up the displays. The first thing here, of course, we're going to go ahead and talk about the advantages, and we're going to go ahead and test some different apps out. But the big thing here is, of course, that if you go to iPad mini, you go to iOS and Apple is very much for simplicity. And if you have a lot of Apple devices at home, then the iPad mini probably will be amazing for you. While if you have a lot of Google devices and you want more customizations, you want like widgets, you want freedom to use different launchers and customize the appearance of your device, you probably want to go with the Nexus tab here. So that's of course the first thing there that you might want to know. Now if we go ahead now and continue down the line, and let's go ahead and check out some specs here. So if you go ahead and start off with the first thing, form factor wise, of course this is only Wi-Fi variants. And I don't think that there's a 3G variant of the Nexus 7 out, but I do know that there's a 3G variant of the iPad mini out. So if you want Wi-Fi on the go, if you want to have your SIM card inside your device, if you want 3G on your tablet, then iPad mini. It's going to be expensive though. It's going to be more expensive here, but there is a variant out for that. And also in terms of width and how big they are, the iPad mini is longer, it's wider, it's also thinner. It's actually way thinner. If you go ahead and look at it like this, it's kind of hard to see right now, and that's just because I have the kind of like lights that I use in this video. Actually one of them did break for me, so that's why right now the light kind of sucks. So, but if you guys go ahead now and continue on and you look at the screen resolution, you get a little bit higher screen resolution on the Nexus 7 here, which is 1280 x 800, but it's also a smaller tablet. It's 7 inch instead of 7.9 inch. So of course it's going to have a little bit higher there, while the iPad mini has a resolution of 768 times 1024. Now what this means is that text will be a little bit more crisp on the Nexus 7, especially in Kindle reading, so that's something that I'm definitely going to go ahead and check out. Also, in terms of pixels per inch, you get 216 here on the Nexus 7, while you get 162 only on the iPad mini. It's almost, I think the original iPhone, I think come out in 2007, had like 130 pixels per inch. The new iPhone 5 right now have 330, and this one is just in between. So if you talk about pixels, it's very bad here, especially on the iPad mini. It's a little bit better here on the Nexus 7, but it's still not extremely good on both of these if you compare it against new high-end devices. In terms of storage, you get the 16 and 32 gigabyte option on the Nexus 7, while you get a 16, 32 and 64 gigabyte option here on the iPad mini. Of course, no one of these have SD card option. 512 megabytes RAM also in the iPad mini, while you get 1 gigabyte, a little bit more there in the Nexus 7. Now, will this make a difference? Well, I'm really not sure if you can feel a difference. Maybe if you do use a lot of heavy apps, you do a ton of multitasking on your device, you will probably feel a difference. But Apple is very good at optimized apps for how to use everything, how to use RAM and all those good things. Now, here's a very big thing. You only get a front-facing camera on the Nexus 7, and they doesn't even come with an app. Doesn't even come a camera app, which I think is pretty bad. I mean, like, even though they don't have, even though they don't have a rear camera, I think that they should have a camera app, because if you just want to take some random pictures on yourself, then it's pretty good, While on the iPad mini here, you actually get two cameras. You get first this 1.2 megapixel front facing, and of course, if I didn't say, the 1.2 megapixel front facing camera here as well, which is still kind of like good for Google Talk if you use Google Plus and those things. But you get a 5 megapixel rear facing camera here on the iPad mini, which could be pretty balls. Even though, I mean, like, how much do you take pictures with your tablet? I'm not sure, but if you want to take a picture, you will be able to do so, and of course also take videos. And Apple knows that people like to take pictures, and it's cool and all those things. So usually they have that kind of nice feature there. So that's kind of like a big one over there. It's kind of a very big one. Now, in terms of operating system, as I said earlier, iOS, very simple. You just have widget, or you just have apps. And of course they have this kind of notification UI in iOS 6, but it's not that interesting. Of course you also have Siri. What up? And Siri is kind of useful. Of course, with Android here, that we have on the left side, you get the latest version of Android 4.2.1 Jelly Bean, which comes with Google Now. And as you can see here, I need to enable location services and all those good things. But I already demonstrated, voice assistance in other videos, so I'm not going to go ahead and go over that much, so much in this little video. If you just go ahead and continue now and check out the processor, you got actually a Tegra 3 chipset here in the Android here. So it's a quad-core processor, clock of 1.2 GHz based on Cortex A9, versus a dual-core, also based on Cortex A9, dual-core 1 GHz processor here inside of the iPad mini, and also of course Apple's own A5 chipset. Now, will you notice a difference in terms of smoothness? Probably here you can feel that it's a little bit more smooth, but you probably won't feel that it's a quad-core processor that you get, or that it's only a dual-core processor here. I mean, like, you can't really say that, oh, this one's rocking quad-core over here and this one's rocking dual-core, because there's no real difference. Both are very like snappy in terms of the UI. But in terms of games and of course apps, you get a little bit more quality apps. I still can see in the Apple environment with the App Store. I mean, especially like I did see like YouTube app feels more optimized. Tablet experience here compared to the same experience here. in the Android world. Even though I should say that I do prefer Android as an operating system, but apps still should, you know, I still want to see more quality apps coming up here in the future. And now in terms of also the GPU, you get the ULP GeForce one here on the Nexus 7, and we're going to go ahead and do some quick gaming, versus the PowerVR SGX 543 MP2 that you get here on the iPad mini, which is very, very good. So especially in games, I'm pretty sure that you get a way better game experience here on the iPad mini. So let's go ahead and do some quick testing. So I'm just going to go ahead and fire up a game over here. So it's basically EA's new Need for Speed Most Wanted game that we're gonna go ahead and check out here pretty quick. And also speaking about the displays, they have both of the kind of same display technology, so both looks pretty much similar. It's IPS displays on both these two. Let's go ahead and begin now on the little iPad mini here. And something that I noticed with this game is that it runs like good on like almost any single device out there. Good graphics and everything, very, very smooth here when I am playing and when I'm gaming. Like a boss. Okay, maybe not. There we go. And Pro also looks a little better, you know, a little bit more nice, especially in gaming with having a little bit bigger display. But if you're going to go ahead and do some Kindle reading a lot, then the Nexus 7 will probably kill off in that. But I can definitely see that, you know, in terms of sharpness, you can definitely see here that the display, it doesn't feel as good, it looks as good as like a Retina iPad, of course, because you don't have as many pixels. But I think for most people it won't really, you know, make a difference, because people will know that, you know, when they pay this, they kind of know what they will get. Now let's go ahead and check out the game here, but on the Android tablet. Okay, so let's see here. I can definitely feel that it seems like, you know, it doesn't feel as smooth. Definitely not as smooth as same experience here on the iPad mini. But then we should also know that the iPad mini costs a little bit more. But definitely the ULP GeForce GPU is not as good as the PowerVR SGX 543 MP2 GPU that you're gonna get in the iPad mini. And if you do a lot of gaming, you know, then I would probably suggest that iPad mini is, you know, the way to go over here. Because you can really feel that, you know, the FPS is probably at least 10-15 FPS higher on the iPad mini compared to the Nexus 7. So let's just go ahead and go out now. Just go ahead and go out, just like that. There we go. So some quick testing over there. Now let's go ahead and check out the browser a little bit quick. Just gonna go ahead and load up some websites pretty quick here. What the hell? Okay, that was awkward. This is because I'm retarded right now, but it felt like it was extremely hard to type on the Nexus 7. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Pocket now. What? It actually feels like it's harder to type and do all those good things here on the... So the first time we load up here, it loads up the mobile version here on the Nexus 7, while it loads up the full page here on the iPad mini. Pretty interesting, I think. So while we wait until it will load up the page over here, I'm pretty sure that it's finished right now. Just gonna go ahead and put in some of that. So let's go ahead and see here on the displays. So as I said earlier, both of these are like a super IPS display, and if you go ahead and look here at the brightness, you can see it's like full on both. I can definitely see that the brightness is better, that the display is more brighter here on the iPad mini. In terms of smoothness, let's go ahead and see. Extremely snappy here on the iPad mini. Kind of impressed here, actually, for real. Wow. When we go ahead and do the same thing here, we can feel that on the Nexus 7 it's not as smooth as doing that thing on the iPad mini. So you definitely get a little bit better experience there, going in and out. And it's so quick to react. Go ahead and do the same thing one more time. You can really see also in the GPU performance, it's not as good, it's not as snappy here, it's extremely smooth here. Apple's done some really good job here at optimizing the performance, I can feel, compared to the Android experience here. Let's go ahead and tap on this. Also seems like it's loading stuff quicker here with the Safari browser. Yes, there we go. But I'm kind of impressed here, especially browser experience is also better, so gaming and browser experience is better here on the iPad mini. From my perspective, from the things I've tested here. Let's go ahead and see a good thing that I think actually the Nexus 7 is a little bit better at. And that is gonna be some quick look here. We're gonna go ahead and fire up YouTube. Let's go ahead and do that first before we try out some reading experience. This is one more time where we can see that the experience is better here on the iPad mini. I know people are going to say that I sound like a fanboy or something like that, but just look at this. The app is way more optimized here for this kind of device, this iOS. That is like an iOS app, but based for the tablet experience. You can see here that when I go to a site here, I immediately see my uploads, my playlists, my purchases. While it's not as good here on my Nexus 7, I can only tap on my name here, and then I will get redirected. So definitely not as good or it doesn't look as cool and those things. Let's go ahead and tap on uploads. There we go. Let's go ahead. Here it looks fairly similar. Let's go ahead and try to load up a video. And me personally, I can see that the experience looks so much better here on the iPad mini. We can immediately go to comments, suggested videos, and quick access here to comments. While doing the same thing here on the Nexus 7, you can see I have to scroll down, and it's extremely annoying. So definitely the YouTube app also here is way better for the iPad mini. Let's go ahead and tap on another video. You can see they load up quicker here though on the Nexus 7. Let's go ahead and try out another one.
Hey guys, so
load up quicker again.
Video, iPhone 5 White Sox. Hey guys, so it's time to do the video.
There we go. Probably load up a little bit quicker.
Samsung Galaxy S2. Hey guys, so today
Kind of the same over there.
water test with my Apple iPhone 4S versus my Samsung Galaxy S3. So let's do this.
And you can see it one more time. The experience is way better here. You can see like suggested apps, and it just looks so much more optimized. Yeah.
Hope you enjoy the video, people.
That was a long video to do. And something I find still extremely annoying, could be because I'm not used to it right now and that I don't use a device that has capacitive touch buttons or virtual keys inside of the display. I prefer right now the hardware button, same as with my Galaxy products. I prefer it more, but I mean like that could just be a thing there with me. Now let's go ahead and we are going to open up some awesome stuff. We are going to go ahead and open up Kindle, because this is one of the things that makes me like the Kindle. I mean, reading is important for me personally. So for me, I would say here that the winner and the device I would pick is the Nexus 7, because I do a lot of reading, and it's just like, it's kind of hard for me to, even though the display looks better here on the iPad, it's a little bit more bright here, white looks more white, it looks like better calibrated. If you go ahead and try to go to the same kind of thickness, let's see which kind of like reading size I usually used to have. Maybe this kind of size or something. And let's go ahead and change it over here as well. And the thing is, like, when you have such a big, if you also do read, in Kindle, if you do use that, and if you have like, you like prefer a huge font, then it kind of like will look at the same here, but the text looks a little bit more sharper here, I can see on the Nexus 7. But the big thing for me personally is that it's way easier to hold in the hand and to change pages, and it's just like I can do it in my bed. Well, yes, the iPad mini is a little bit thinner, but it's like hard to hold and it's like annoying to hold because it's so fat. But I mean, like, reading is just a big thing for me, so I would say for me personally, before, I would pick the Nexus 7, and also that I'm a little bit more into the Android world right now, even though I use, Apple computers. Let's go ahead and look at the last things here, why you might want to pick up the iPad mini maybe. So the first thing I would, why I would pick up the iPad mini, if I would need a camera, I would do it. It's thinner, it feels a little bit more exclusive maybe, even though I do kind of enjoy the rubber feeling a lot. Quality of apps is like so much more awesome, and they have like awesome apps like Bike Baron, which is an amazing game. It's like the dopest game of the dopes. When we go ahead, if you have never played this game, it's so awesome. Look at this. Look at it! This is like the best game ever. Okay, you drive down like this. It's just like the best game ever. There's so many quality apps in the App Store, and I do know that apps are getting better for what is being called for Android. But this game is so much dope. I mean, Android need it. It's awesome. It's sweet. And I could almost like pick an iPad mini just for that game. I'm for real, bro. So those are the things. And also, if you're more into the Apple world, I would probably pick up the iPad mini. But good things with the Nexus 7 is that it's way cheaper. It's easier to hold, especially in Kindle reading. A big thing for me. It's more customizable if you do have a lot of widgets and stuff like that. As you can see, I have a widget over here for my Gmail and you know, you can have a ton of different widgets. It's pretty sweet if you do like that. And the screen is a little bit more high resolution. So this was just my quick little video talking a little bit and comparing these two devices. I hope you have enjoyed and made your final decision. Yeah, peace out. And this looks nasty. Yeah.